Hey, everybody. First of all, can you hear me? Great. And can you see just a single screen, not my notes? Good. Phew. I spent hours playing with that and my iPad to see if I could get it to work right. I wanted to start by acknowledging that I'm in the land of the Wurundjeri people in Melbourne, of the Kulin Nation, and I do pay my respects to their elders. This has been a fascinating session, and I'm very interested in the intellectual dimensions of thinking through these stories. But today, my focus is going to be on how my role as a musical storyteller has evolved over the last few years. And I'm going to play some music for you, not live, but I'm going to. So if you haven't got good gamer headphones, it might not sound as good as it will through my headphones. So I'm going to have a really good time. So I wish you luck. But just as a brief background for those who are unfamiliar with what I do a bunch of things, but one of them particularly is this project called Music for a Warming World, which is a multimedia, as you can sort of get indicated there, music show that takes people on a journey through the climate and ecological crisis. So it's sort of an emotional immersion in some of the science and the scholarship and our responses to that. Happens to be a solo gig, but normally I have a band and we make a lot of noise and have fun. I'm going to start with the video. I don't know if any of you have seen this, and if you don't like this band, well, just bear with me for a minute. Oops, so daisy, let's try again. You may not recognize the concert. They're playing at the Super Bowl in Louisiana in 2002, February. There's a tremendous amount of symbolism in this. Now, regardless of your perspective on the United States, that this was about 4 months after 9/11. People were still not flying anywhere. They weren't going to big events. They were frightened of everything that was about to take place. And the Super Bowl is one of the biggest events on the US sort of cultural sporting calendar. Janet Jackson was supposed to perform that show, but she pulled out. She was worried her music wasn't appropriate. However, U2 came in, stole the show, and many critics rated it as the best Super Bowl show ever. But I want to read some words that Bono said after the show. He said, we play, the song is Where the Streets Have No Name. We play this song wherever we need God to walk through the room. It means stepping outside yourself, imagining the possibilities. It's asking people if you want to go on this journey together. It's that place of soul, that place of imagination, the place where the streets have no name, that other place. The whole show is actually quite powerful. I remember the first time I watched it, I was pretty well overcome, but I was struck by the power of symbols and stories. Now, nothing that we do is anywhere near this scale, but I wanted to remind us of the power of music to convey stories and to convey, if you like, narratives. Yep, so Daisy, let me write again. We need some big stories and some big symbols, particularly in face of the climate challenge ahead of us. And I know Nina is working to give birth to some of these new stories, and that's what we've just been hearing today. Underneath these big stories are lots of unraveling of stories, understanding how things work. And it's a lot of sociological theory about how stories and discourses shape the way we see the world. I used to write about a lot of stuff. I've written a zombie trilogy. I've written a slot. My most watched video is perchance happens to be about slot car racing, believe it or not, on YouTube. Go figure. Vampire love affairs. But recently I've come to realize we have no time for mucking around. So I've really changed my approach to songwriting. And I've made a conscious attempt to think about the new stories we need to contribute to this narrative shift at a practical level as well as a level of metaphor. So I've got my 4th album about to come out, and in that album I've been working very much around the sort of things very much as Chris and Louise have been talking about today, particularly some of the stuff Chris has been talking about, ideas I've been grappling with. So I'm not going to spend any time on this because we are very familiar with these things, but these are the ideas that I've been, as a songwriter, been grappling with. This idea of not being atomized individuals, but the whole story of social cooperation is an important story that we need to be singing and speaking and writing and drawing about. The idea of the shared commonwealth. Obviously, revitalized democracy. We've heard a lot about that. I won't go into that much more. Justice, of course, for everyone. Particularly recognizing the prior claims and rights of Indigenous people. I think that's critical. I'm also really interested in the rights of the the other than human world as well. I think it's critical to our future. So things like UBI. So these are the themes that I'm trying to write music and songs around. And I'm going to actually give you some illustrations of these in a moment. So we're going to hopefully make more sense. I'm trying to actually write a song about UBI at the moment. It's quite hard to come up with a right framing, but I'm working on it. I'll get there. Maybe anyone's got some great ideas, wants to collaborate, let me know. But again, it's about seeding these ideas in a musical form, and where we go out and do our concerts, we want these ideas to stick in people's heads as an earworm. Security and sufficiency, obviously. And in that, I think the energy revolution is such a really good news story. We need to be singing it from the rooftops. And in agriculture that's safe from anthropogenic disaster, something else we're quite interested in. Restoration of the natural world, obviously. Rewilding furiously. All those benefits that come from that. I'm not going to, again, I've got a bunch of notes here, but I'm going to ignore those. And also a theme I've been thinking about is climate safety. And getting this through our music, and I hope other artists will take up these things around, particularly things like protection from heat going into the future. We have a serious problem with future heat now, but also going into the future about how we create safety in our communities from really dangerous heat waves. It is protection from heat now is a human right, and we need to be seeding those ideas so we can learn to adapt. So I've sort of distilled all these down into, oops, daisy, I'm going to go, here we go, into 3 critical narratives, and it helps me frame the way I think. One is resilience, this whole idea of building our society's ability to cooperate and act collectively for those common goals. And we've seen this through the, to some extent, through the COVID-19 experience. And still seeing it today, particularly in South Australia. Relinquishment, knowing that we will lose a lot of that which we love. And a lot of our songs are around, music is around giving people emotional space to process this reality that we are losing things that we care about. And of course, you've got to think about what a good future could look like. So I love the idea of combining science, the future of technology and science, the science fictions, if you like, with the natural systems of the world. So regeneration. Okay, I've got 3 songs, and I'm going to share them with you. Now, these have been recently recorded. They're not finalized yet, but they're pretty good enough to go for now. The first song is a song about renewable energy, and it's about, imagine if you will, you're in a dusty old down in its luck outback town somewhere in Australia, and you're worried about the future, and then in the distance comes this tall dark stranger. Well, he's not actually tall and dark, but anyway, riding an old horse who's been out looking for some answers, and that's the sort of Johnny Cash type of motif that we're trying to affect. So we're going to play this first song, and I'll see how we go. So let's hope it works. Oops. The stranger, he was tall and strong, never doing wrong when he came to town. So the people gathered all around. He rose slowly on his horse, a Palomino called a Colin Morrison. Of the future he wrote a book.
But they wouldn't show us who he was. They were all at a loss till someone recognized him.
It's Ross.
Hey, Ross.
G'day, Ross. Hey, look, it's Ross.
Garnell, it is. Economist. Clean energy. My name is Ross, you're surely right. I travel this land day and night. I searched for the hidden paths to take. In this land so bleached and scorched, for a vision of the pathway forward.
Tell us, did you find it, Ross?
They called. Ross sat still upon the hill. He cleared his throat, the crowd went still. We can be super powerful. Come on, Ozzy, we can be a superpower with me, an energy superpower with me. And he sang as he watched everyone join him to sing. We can be a superpower Australia, an energy superpower Australia.
Okay. So that's a song that we're using to obviously tell the story of Ross Garnell's latest book. I haven't sent it to Ross yet, but I will do that sometime, about renewable energy, because I think it's a story we need to really, a lot of people are not aware of it, and all the jobs that are available. Second one is the revolution in agriculture and the revolution in future diets. There's a huge discursive change going to happen. I think, a lot of us are seeing that going to take place. So we decided to write a song that might help earworm that might help people with that one. So I'm going to play a little clip of that one as well. So here we go.
Let everyone eat more vegetables. We need to eat fewer animals. And all of us will live to a ripe old age because of vegetables. The earth will take you on a tour, and all the streams will be so pure, and you can drink the water now it's clean. There's a few cows in the field, and there's some chickens roaming free, and the countryside starts to look green. Let everyone eat more vegetables. We need to eat fewer animals. All of us will live to a ripe old age because of vegetables. It's really simple to...
Okay, so sorry to cut off so abruptly there, but that's again, it's a little earworm we've tried when we talk about the agricultural revolution. I realize the time's nearly up, but I want to just play maybe 3 minutes of this last song. This is a very different type of song, just so you know that I'm not a country musician. They are off character for me. And this is called Every Story Will Change. And it's a song to reflect, I guess, reflections on the fact that the stories that we know and love will change. So I'm just going to play a little bit of it, and you'll get the idea of it.
We were hominoids ranging the savannah, started telling stories to one another, became the planet storytellers chasing our dreams, language in our genes and collective memes, yeah. Some think all we need is scientific facts to explain our world and tell us where we're at. The stories always arbitrate where facts are concerned. Stories are the supervisors of our world.
Every story will change.
I'm getting worried about the future of the planet, not the chemistry but the life that is on it, we're up against the limit. Seems it's only minutes to make the changes needed to these stories we've invented. Yeah. Every culture has stories about the who, the why, the what. The problem that we've got, a lot of these will not slow down our extinction. Our execution, seduced by stories that offer no redemption.
Every story will change. It's not easy, these are stories that I know. I am driven without knowing, though it doesn't even show.
I, that word again, is me, irreducibly sacred, I am valuable, master of my destiny. Call it narcissistic.
Oh, stop.
Clearly I will self-maximize, I will not resist it.
Okay. Oops. Sorry, I got to stop. Tried to stop that smoothly, but it didn't work. Okay, now, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
And Simon, just as you're wrapping up, if you're able to make me the host again or let some people in, there's apparently at least one person in the waiting room.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
Again, apologies. This
No,
technical
no.
glitch. I should have been able to do all this. I normally do 72 things at once, but this account was set up.
Oh, there we go.
strangely.
Oh, Brahman. Oh, poor old Brahman. She's been sitting out there. Just to that. Okay, I'm not going to talk any more about what I just did there, but it's just an example of how I've been trying to translate those large stories into musical form for the sort of work that we've been doing in our show and our music. And I think it's got a lot of possibilities of thinking through the connections. So I would really encourage artists, particularly musicians, to think more strategically around what we're trying to say and actually trying to speak to these emerging issues. So I'll stop now and we can have a chat. And the album's coming out in the next few months. So just you can find our website, Music for Warming World, and you can find more about us there.